Relations Coordinator for ATU 757. A big part of my job is taking grievances on behalf of the union to arbitration. Since I have been doing this, a large part of my efforts have been focused on contracting out, or on Trimet's insistence on spending valuable resources to pay outside companies to do work that its own employees can and want to do. That's what I'd like to talk to you about today. Unionized construction projects are more productive, more efficient, and produce greater quality goods than non-unionized construction. Why? Because unionized in-house workers have a vested interest in the quality of work and the outcome of the job. When companies like Trimet contract out work to people who don't have a dog in the race, or perhaps a bus in the fleet, they end up spending more money for an inferior product. In fact, in our case, workers often have to go back and fix the work done by contractors and the time that they could have done the work in the first place. Trimet maintenance workers go through a strenuous years-long program to develop the skills necessary to be a journeyman. Many of them have decades worth of experience, some of them at Trimet for all of it. They work hard and take pride in their finished product. They take the safety of the public and their coworkers to heart in all the work they do. And that is why it is so hard for them to see their work contracted out to other people who don't have a personal investment in this company or know the other people who work for it. People who don't have a reason to care about the outcome of their work past the point they leave the work site. When I speak to our maintenance workers about the issue of contracting out, they are never complaining that someone else made money instead of them, or even that they're often paid more than them. Instead, they complain that the work should have been theirs, that it belongs to them as part of their responsibilities, because they were capable of doing the work and because they were trained to do it. When they describe this to me, they use words like demeaning and devalued, and I can't argue with them. I have gotten to know many of our maintenance workers in my time at ATU, and I care about them. I respect them, and I admire their work ethic. The men and women I have been lucky enough to get to know are hard workers and proud workers, and they don't want anything but to be allowed to do the work that they are trained to do. They and the union just want Trimet to do what is right, not contract whatever it can, but whatever it needs to. We would never propose that Trimet is not allowed to contract out any work. In fact, the parties have bargained for a committee comprised of both management and union members to discuss when work should be contracted out. I firmly believe that if you ask any Trimet manager who is or has been on that committee, that you will hear that our members on that committee are nothing if not reasonable. The problem is that Trimet no longer brings the work to the committee before making that determination. Trimet would rather contract out work that they don't need to, knowing that later they will have to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to go to arbitration again and again to argue that no, they didn't need to contract out the work, and yes, their workers were capable of doing it, but they contracted out the work because they could. And you will undoubtedly hear after this that an arbitrator said it's okay to contract out this work. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm not here to argue it either. In fact, for the purposes of this testimony, I couldn't care less. I am not here to talk about what is legally acceptable or what Trimet can do, but what Trimet should do, about what is right. Trimet should allow its own workers to do work that they are capable of doing, that they are trained to do, and that they have done before. Trimet should pay its own workers to do that work rather than spending taxpayers' dollars to pay contractors more for a lower quality product. Trimet should prioritize the safety of its operators and riders above all else, therefore prioritizing the quality of the work completed along its existing system that its own workers are familiar with, far more familiar with than outside workers. Trimet should want people who care about the system and its riders and operators to care for the system. Trimet should let these people do their jobs. Thank you.